Hello, my name is Anisha, and today I'm delighted to interview Mrs. Khushi Kabir, who is a prominent human rights activist and the coordinator of Niger Kori, a non government organization in Bangladesh. So, I've heard that you've also traveled to various South Asian countries and worked on organizations in the other countries as well. So, I would like to know if you want to tell us any experiences during your visits in these countries.
Okay, definitely. I've not worked in other countries, but I've traveled to other countries and I worked across the South Asian region with different organizations to form some kind of a South Asian network. So, and my work is basically in Bangladesh, and I've been working for many, many, many decades. So, if you want to hear what I've done or what I visited, I think I have visited all the 8 countries of South Asian region. I've had the privilege of having visited all the 8 countries and worked most closely with Nepal, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh, of course. And no, actually, I haven't visited Afghanistan. So I visited 7 countries of the region, not 8. But I have contacts in Afghanistan and we work together. The reason why we work together is I think there are a lot of things that are similar in our region and we can learn. There are a lot of things that are different. Each nation had its own separate identity and issues and cultures and areas that need to be looked at and learn from and maybe improve. And also, we have a lot of similarities that we understand each other. So there's a lot that we can learn from what the others are doing. So that's why we work and believe in people to people contact. And I think that's the most important contact. And that's what I love doing. Yeah.
That was very lovely to hear, and I would like to also know that during your travels and between your work and traveling, have you been able to foster any new friendships among these?
Lots of, I've had friendships from before. I think if you look at what I've been doing and the work we do, and I'll explain that a bit, I work with organizing landless peasants over here, and within Bangladesh, we are very active in the women's movement and the human rights movement and democratic movements, fostering peace and cultural plurality, rights of the marginalized communities. And as human rights activists and practitioners, we find there's a lot of reason to interact with other countries. And also, as a feminist and working for feminist principles and encouraging feminist ideologies to grow, there's a lot that we need to learn from each other's countries. So, what we do is basically these 2 areas are where we have learned a lot from and had a lot of interactions with. And even today, all my friendships, very, very close friendships, are in these 2 areas. One is of rights as citizens and as feminist women's activities. The other thing that I find is in our countries, while we try to embrace and look at the cultures that exist within our countries, we also try to, there's a lot of concern in especially our governments and many of the political parties, in a very kind of a monocultural ideology, where your religion, the majority religion, is the predominant religion and should be the one on which on the basis on which others are looked at. So I think that's very negative. And so we look at all the region and the countries within the region and try and talk about how can we increase and foster cultural plurality. How can we look at secularism within our countries? So we have to look at whether people who are from minority religious backgrounds or from minority ethnic backgrounds are not discriminated against. They do not face any kind of threats or violations because of their marginalized positions. So these are things we work very strongly on, and these are things that the people I work with in the region also work on. And so we foster a lot of friendship, interaction, and support with each other. That is so important, right?
Thank you so much. This was very pleasant to hear, knowing that people of different countries, especially in the South Asian regions, even they have the same beliefs and they form friendships country-wise with the same beliefs. And like you said, it's very important. So moving on to the next question, do you have any interesting anecdotes to share during your travels to to the SAARC countries?
Lots. I've been traveling so much, I can't decide which one to tell and which one not to tell. I think,
Just tell one, because I just know one story would be enough for.
okay, so I'll talk about when I first went to Pakistan. This was many years back, but this was the first time I was going to Pakistan after our liberation war. And as everyone knows, our liberation war we were once part of Pakistan and we fought our liberation war to become an independent nation. So I really had a negative attitude towards Pakistanis because of all the atrocities that was done on Bangladesh during the War of Liberation in 1971. So when one of my friends invited me to Pakistan, I was very hesitant. I didn't want to go to Pakistan. It took a lot of persuasion by friends who said, you're not going to visit the government of Pakistan. You're visiting feminists. This is a feminist gathering. So you're going to visit that. So when I went there, I was a bit nervous and I think this was in the probably early 90s. Maybe it was 90 or something like that. I'm not sure which year it was, but it was around then. So when I went there, I was wondering how people would react because I like to wear a sari and I always wear a teep. So I was surprised that I did not have any negative reaction. So, and people the workshop was held in a far off place, in a place called Bhitsha, which is far away from Karachi. And this is where Shabdul Latif Bhittai, where a lot of the Sufi songs and everything come from. It's a Sufi shrine was in Bhitsha. So the area was different, and all the women who had come for that workshop I spoke about 71 and I spoke about all that we had gone through. And they were so supportive and trying. And there were few women, for the first time I met, that women told me that either they themselves or their father had been arrested or they had faced problems because they were supporting the position of Bangladesh at that time, which was considered as very anti-Pakistan and against the state. So for me, it was an eye-opener to find, apart from the friendliness of the people, to find that there were people who had believed in Bangladesh. We thought that all Pakistanis were the same. So that was an eye-opener for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was so interesting to hear. And I feel like you never really know what the experience is unless you go yourself.
Yeah.
So you've been working in this field for many, many years. What would you say is your greatest contribution?
I don't think I have a greatest contribution, but I think that the fact that over 50 years later, 55 years later, I'm still working and still at it. I'm not tired. I'm not exhausted. I still believe, and I believe in the people of this country and what they're capable of, and that I think it's our governments and our political parties that are often the problems because they try to build their strength and their control through negative perceptions and positions within all the countries. But I believe that the people are different. And so therefore, I would like to see South Asia as a region like the European Union in many ways, where I know we use this example a lot. But even if I look at Southeast Asia, where ASEAN is, and I see the relationship that the Southeast Asian countries have with each other, keeping their own identity intact. Even Malaysia and Indonesia, that's so close, but yet they have their separate identity and very close. So I would like to see that we could visit each other, not always look at each other as enemies or trying to outdo us or trying to, control us. So I think this is very important that we build this up. And I believe in that. And I think that will only happen when a people to people interaction can flourish. And that's so important. Yeah.
Yes, well said. Thank you so much for answering my questions. It was a delight to interview you. And do you have any last words to say?
Not really, except that all who would be watching this video and everybody who's part of this process of the Doyen for Peace, they should all try to learn from each other's programs, countries, and interaction. Hopefully, one day we can meet in person. That is my dream.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.